Testing, testing. Okay, cool. Um, hey, I'm my name's Walter Wabbit. Like what you see, please follow, subscribe to Twitch. Um, yeah, just the usual stuff that I did. I've been doing a lot more of these just chatting streams lately. Um, but you know, that's a bit interesting thing is I don't do them. I'm not sure if like just chatting is the right place to even do them. If that makes sense. Um, Not sure if um like as a category. I didn't release any shorts today. Um well, shorts during the week because I've just been busy. Um Involved in, just living my life. But yeah, let's just jump right into it and talk about self-driving cars. I've already kind of watched this video, but I haven't finished it, so I hope not. How are you gonna replace people? What a car's gonna do? How's a car gonna balance? How our car is gonna balance it? How are they gonna fuel themselves? Whatever. I'm thinking too much about this. Were they the STEM nerds? I know it's a joke, but look at him. He's wearing the perfect glasses. I don't really like the name perfect glasses, to be honest. Um, I kind of think the whole thing is overblown. But and I actually think that Google Glass is a very good idea. So there's a controversial take. Whoa. Okay, so I've heard a lot of stories about self-driving cars like hurting people, but Waymo's I, I haven't heard then it specifically about Waymo, so he's right about that. Um, you know, a lot of people are scared about like technology. Um, I okay, you know what? Okay, here's a better way of putting it. Um, there's a lot of good tech out there that could really like do great things, but it's being overshadowed by all the dumbasses who, well, not dumbasses, cons, who are trying to like con people and trick people into like buying into their bullshit, and it's ruining it for the actual people that are making good things, like Mr. Thurn here. That is awesome to hear. Here's a piece of tech that's coming out of big tech that doesn't fucking suck ass. You know what I'm saying? Out of all the news that we get, all the crazy shit that we get, here's a piece of news. Here's the stuff that made me like a couple of I think a couple of years ago I tweeted on Blue Sky. I was like, man, I'm really glad I dodged a bullet on wanting to work at big tech. But this is the kind of stuff that I actually like. This is the kind of stuff that gave like made me really excited back in college to try to see if I can break into big tech. And now you know what's unforgettable? California girls with their Daisy Dukes and bikini on top. That's it in a song. Also, Motoro's "Hey, welcome to the stream." Yeah, I forget what song it says that. It's funny that you mentioned that. What song is that? I, God. Yeah. So, anyways, what's up? Yeah. So, like, it's good to see that Waymo is doing awesome. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for coming. It's California Girls by Katy Perry, the platypus. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Because I was like, because as soon as you said that, I was like, the song was in my head, but I couldn't think of who was singing it. um. Yeah. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for coming. Um. Yeah. So. Um yeah, something that isn't crypto or something that isn't like what's the other thing that's sucking out? Oh, AI. Oh, something that isn't AI. This is actually a machine learning, which is like a sub part of like AI, but like this is the shit that got people excited about Google. Like this is the shit that was just like, oh, they're actually making the world better. And you know, there are idiots that are putting a mucking that up. Anyways, I'm gonna play that song back maybe after we're done with watching the videos. Hold on, give me a second. Let me see if I can tell you. Okay, closed caption works. Okay, good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is like a crazy statistic. It's like there are no sounds coming out of the video. Oh, really? Oh shit. That means I have to restart the video. Number one. Number two, oh shit. Thank you for letting me know. Which is the one which is the toggle back? Oh wow. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Oh fuck. Okay. Alright. We're starting this over. Damn it. Can't believe that was a thing that happened. I can fix this. I can fix this. I can fix this? Question mark. No, I could fix this. No, stop that. Why are you like this? Stop it. Stop it. Okay, so we're just gonna I'll give me a second to cue these cue this. Yeah. Nasty. There we go. Okay. We're almost done. We're almost there. Don't worry. It doesn't seem like much now, but you'll see. We'll see. Oh, you already see what I'm doing. Never mind. Well, we're almost done, so it's okay. Yeah, this is the other video that I was supposed to play. That I was gonna play later. Haha. Okay, let's turn this out.
That's what it would sound like if people replaced cars. But what if cars replaced people? That's exactly what autonomous vehicle companies like Waymo are trying to discover. Thanks to the miracles of science, engineering, and venture capital, over the last few decades, autonomous vehicles have evolved from fringe experiments to a technology capable of dominating our roads. But should we accept these contraptions as the future of transportation, as many suggest? Let's pop the hood on this thing. To tell the story of driverless cars, one must travel back to the beginning of time. 17 years ago at the University of Washington. It was here on this crunchy-ass campus in the spring of 2009 when STEM nerds were smoking weed out of apple bongs and losing their virginities to MGMT. It was also when AI and robotics engineer Sebastian Thrun gave a lecture on creating a safer, more efficient system of transportation in which smart cars could communicate with each other and even drive themselves with AI.
If you look at today's transportation sector in the United States, it is, in my opinion, irresponsibly uneconomical and dangerous. We lose 42,000 people every year in traffic accidents. I think we are ready for a revolution in the area of transportation that could rival and parallel the revolution the internet has brought about.
Now, Thrun wasn't just spreckensing out of his Deutsch here. 4 years earlier, he had helmed a team of Stanford engineers who developed a robot car named Stanley that won the 2005 DARPA Grand Challenge, a competition created by the Defense Department to spur innovation in autonomous vehicles. Here's Thrun lying to camera.
The most important thing for me is it actually doesn't matter who comes first. It matters that we as a community achieve it.
But still, Sebastian Thrun came first. Soon after, an even scarier institution than the Department of Defense came calling for Thrun's services: Google.
Sebastian Thrun is here, the founder and head of Google X. The New York Times has called it Google's lab of wildest.
I mentioned this earlier. Oh my God. Why is my microphone so loud? I should not have done that. I changed some settings and now now my microphone is blasting to people's ears. Okay. So, but he's wearing the original pervert glasses. They're not really, I don't really like the name pervert glasses. Google Glass is, I think was a really good idea. And all the talk about how terrible it is, it's extremely overblown. But let's have the fact. Yeah, those things are great. And I wish, well, I'll get into it later. I'll just repeat what I said earlier.
Led a slew of projects, including Street View and a moonshot project codenamed Project Chauffeur, which would later change its name to Waymo. By 2017, Waymo had split off from Google and became its own operation under Google's parent company Alphabet. Shortly after, they began testing passenger service in the verdant, lush, green city of Phoenix, Arizona. By 2024, they opened robotaxi service up to all of San Francisco, and that's exactly where I traveled to in 2026, where I met Sebastian at his office, where they were having Bring a Pale YouTuber to Work Day. You are known as the father of modern self-driving cars.
He's pretty pale, isn't he?
Your children are behaving these days.
So far, so good, knock on wood. You go to San Francisco, you can't cross the street without seeing a Waymo, and so far, we haven't hurt a person. I was scared in the beginning to put the standing technology onto public streets because it wasn't perfect, and it was like picturing, oh my God, a child runs out and our self-driving car would kill a person, and that hasn't happened. But it was very clear to me, if you use machine learning, if your cars can learn, they get better every day. If a human driver makes a mistake, maybe that one person gets better. But if a self-driving car makes a mistake, all the self-driving cars improve overnight, including the unborn cars. So it was very clear to me that we would get better, better, and better, and better. And it was just a question of time. When would we exceed human safety? And that happened about 2 years ago.
Do you think one of the benefits of Waymo is that if a Waymo cuts me off on the road, I can flip it off and no one gets mad?
It doesn't honk its horn.
But enough jokes. Right now, Waymo is autonomously riding some serious momentum.
So, as I mentioned, I was mentioning earlier, Waymo is one of those projects that I was in, like it was one of the really great projects that made people excited to work at Google. Back when like Google's motto was, do no evil and all that jazz. Now we all know it was a marketing gimmick, but like the fact that they were making projects like this, right, and the fact that there are possibilities beyond like making like important projects. Like I particularly was never gonna do my interest was I was never personally going to do like self-driving cars, and that's fine. Like my interest wasn't really machine learning, but like still like the opportunity to work on something that was awesome, like that was the motivation to get into big tech. Now the motivation to get into big tech is just to like make money and like just make money. I like money, I mean, I guess for a successful career, you want to make money, but like I always felt that like having a comfortable life and just liking what you do was like important, and money was just like secondary, or as long as you can like make enough money to survive, right? Like money to provide and live your life, or how do I say this? That's the best way to put it. Yeah, I had something in mind, but I brain farted, and yeah. Or money was just a bonus. There you go. That's what I was thinking. Money was just a bonus, then it was fine, So this was when Google was Google, and that fuck-ass AI
they
company.
eclipsed 500,000 rides per week. The company has also expanded beyond its initial market of San Francisco, Phoenix, and LA into other cities that we built for bachelor parties, including Austin, Atlanta, Miami, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and Orlando. And much like my waist when the old ball and chain whips up her famous tuna casserole, Waymo plans to continue aggressively expanding. Earlier this year, they raised $16 billion, valuing the company at $110 billion, and they aim to push into international markets like London and Tokyo while upping their rides per week to 1 million or more this year. And while Waymo is the undisputed market leader in this shit, they do face increased competition from the likes of Zoox, which is owned by Amazon, and Tesla, which is owned by Grendel.
I want to see the point where Waymo transport is going to be
I never heard of
cheaper than car
Zoox.
ownership. That's my inflection point, where people will rationally say owning a car costs me extra money. So even people like in the rural population that today all own cars. When that happens, we can have a greener world because cars will be utilized better, and we're going to get to a city like San Francisco without parked cars on the sidewalk. We lose 1.2 million people every year in the world to traffic accidents. It's a massive number of people. It's like the cause of death #1 for young people like your audience. Okay, you will die. If you die, you probably die either because of drug overdose or because of a car accident in America. That can be limited now.
But I'm a pretty good drunk driver.
Yeah, good for you.
I don't know if you noticed, but we live.
There's like a crazy statistic that I'm not sure that holds today, but like, oh yeah, it was overshadowed by COVID. Like COVID, when it hit, that 1 year, it was the leading cause of death for like people, like drug overdoses or something like that. Oh yeah, and then there was the opioid epidemic. Yeah, that happened too. But then like before that, cars was like one of the leading ways of like killing people like every year, right? That was the leading statistic several years ago. I don't know what it is now, but like what he's basically saying is like get all the people to stop using, if all the cars are safe because you know it's driving everything for you, there are no accidents, then like you know that's a plus. That's it's great, you know. And that's why that was the promise of self-driving cars, you know. It's just so fucked up how like a couple of fucking morons are you ruining it for everybody.
In a recurring revenue world where it seems like every business you interact with wants you locked in a subscription cycle that's hard to cancel. Countless times during my online shopping sprees,
We don't have to watch that.
Netflix or Amazon because the car won't change fees paid by the merchant. Great today. Sebastian had a grandiose view of the future, one where we don't own, let alone drive cars, instead relying on a network of autonomous robo-taxis provided by a company like Waymo. But before I could get behind this energetic German's view for the future,
I was even thinking about
I had
nipples.
to mount one of these clanker steeds myself. I certainly wasn't going to get in one without another person, and I don't consider my cameraman to be a person. So I hit up Kelly Waldron, San Franciscan and data reporter for Mission Local. Kelly has reported on Waymo's extensive lobbying efforts in San Francisco, which has been crucial to their success in the city. In 2025, the company recorded nearly 700 individual lobbying contacts with city officials, which accounted for 1/6 of lobbying contacts in the city total. And that's not just me saying that. That's math.
Why all the lobbying? What is Waymo trying to get done in the city that they haven't already done?
Waymo is very focused on getting access to San Francisco's airport, SFO. That's a gold mine for Waymo in terms of a new customer base.
Oh, that's genius, actually.
Revenue. It's also a gold mine for the
That's
city. That's
absolute genius.
For companies that bring passengers to the airport. And now they do have access to the airport. So I actually saw I was looking this morning, the number of lobbying contacts this year is a lot lower. And I imagine that it's because they've kind of gotten what they were hoping to get. I think there are a lot of concerns about Waymo. I don't know that any of the concerns are about the drive.
I understand why they want to go after airports. Airports are like a huge like traffic. There's a lot of traffic that goes through airports. Like if we're not talking about like mom and pop like picking themselves up to work. We're talking about like business people moving in and out of the airport to get business stuff done. And usually unless you have a rental, right, ready, and rentals can be expensive. Often it's just easier for the average corporate man to like the average yuppie to just hit a taxi, and by getting connection to like any airport, not just the San Francisco airport, they can get a lot of revenue and a lot of data and a lot of things. It's like a win-win across the board. So yeah, that's actually genius. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
I think there are some obvious benefits that most people would acknowledge. You know, a driverless vehicle is not going to text and drive. It's not going to drive under the influence. It's stopping fully at every stop sign, and it's abiding by the law. I think there is skepticism about this technology for other reasons, and what the impact will be on jobs or how it impacts the city's transit infrastructure in general and congestion. You are kind of adding a lot of cars on the road and not necessarily taking cars away or replacing other cars.
As Kelly mentioned, there are real concerns across the Bay about the mass implementation of Waymos and other autonomous vehicles. Concerns that are certainly shared by a group called Safe Street Rebel, which is apparently singular.
So we're Safe Street Rebel.
Safe Street Rebels.
Yeah.
What?
No S.
The streets of the Safe Rebels.
What's wrong with S?
Singular.
What's wrong?
The Safe Street Rebels are a group of San Franciscan activists who engage in demonstrations to protest cars and car infrastructure in the city. apparently involving large primates.
We do guerrilla infrastructure. We have done things like block major intersections. We've done critical mass style bike rides that also block traffic, installed crosswalks, made benches.
How has Safe Street Rebels approached the introduction of Waymos?
We started off by putting cones on top of the hoods, and then I think they programmed them to learn that they can just ignore those cones. So we've adapted the tactics to just putting some tape over their LiDAR sensors. You can just use like plain painter's tape. It doesn't leave any residue. Cover the sensor, and it'll just.
Oh wow, they're really fucking with them.
Stop sign in front of it, and it will stop. I also like to mess with them when I'm riding my bike, riding very slowly in front of them, or sometimes I'll try and make them stop suddenly by like being in their way. There's a lot of problems with Waymos. They're kind of similar to Uber and Lyft, where they promise that they would significantly like reduce traffic, but with Uber and Lyft, they actually took up 2/3 of the 60% traffic increase that occurred between 2010 and 2016. So that traffic reduction claim was a lie.
I see Waymos as like, ew, I don't want to ride transit, that's too yucky. To me, a good and beautiful city is one where transit is normal and where everyone is using it and it's easy to take, and more cars on the road makes it worse.
Emergency responders are not happy with them, but like city officials I think are pretty pro, and maybe not as for public transit as they should be.
So, okay, so a couple of tidbits about that. They mentioned that like the traffic congestion thing is a lie based on like current statistics, where I'm pretty sure that like Google and everybody that's involved is thinking in the long term. I think they think a lot that the long-term goal would be less traffic congestion, because as there are more driverless cars on the road, I think what they think is that like the people who are currently driving, as they always have been, are the ones taking the traffic congestion, are the ones that are creating the traffic congestion, that the Waymos itself, because when everybody was driving the cars, they were causing the congestion. So I think in that sense, they're playing the long game. Another thing about this that's very interesting about this is that they're doing all types of things to fuck with the Waymos, right? And that makes perfect sense. It's actually, what they're doing is pretty effective. But it's also like testing data for like the Waymos too, right? Because the whole reason why, while they're deploying the Waymos are collecting information about how to move about in the city, and that includes people that will like the programmers, the engineers didn't think that people were not going to fuck with the cars. Just like people, I don't know if when you play a video game and then you try to work outside the bounds of the video game, like the win conditions of the video game. Like, I don't know if you've ever played Stanley Parable, or I don't know if you've ever played a video game where like you went off the beaten path. Like, programmers know how people act when they go off script, right? So all they're doing in the long run is really collecting like data for the engineers to work around, with the exception of the tech, because that literally gets in the way of the sensors. But yeah, so you know, whatever they do, it might work in the short term, but I don't think it'll work in the long term necessarily. But it is good activism. I will admit that, you know. Interesting.
Indeed, emergency first response leaders from SF and Austin have met with federal regulators to express their frustration about Waymo incidents, from slowing down emergency vehicles to driving into floods and potentially speeding through construction zones. Worst of all, these cars marked some teens that were underage
That is
drinking.
interesting.
And teens, quite frankly, should be drinking in any vehicle, which has long been the policy of Dan Toomey's teens-only booze bus. But in addition to worries about how autonomous vehicles will merge with our transit systems, another speed bump on driverless cars' road to world domination is how they will impact taxi and Uber drivers.
How long did you drive a taxi cab?
I wasn't paying attention to what he spelled out.
23 years.
Barry Toronto is a former board member of the San Francisco Taxi Workers Alliance, where he is still an activist.
It does take some people's jobs away. Well, Waymo, you can't tell the Waymo, wait, can you back up a second? I forgot my friend. You know what I mean? My friend was supposed to get in, right? They can't help disabled people or seniors with luggage or with groceries.
But Barry, have you considered that it's a lot easier to get naked in the back of a Waymo?
Oh, yes and no. It is, but you don't know. You don't know Waymo is using the video. It's adding more cars on the street. Sometimes you can see 4 or 5 of them in a row, and you can't get around them. You have to wait for them, or you have to try and go around them. And it interferes with some of the bus routes, the bicycle lanes. They have used taxi zones to park in. At times, they don't know what to do.
So then, is the official stance?
So actually, the most notable and interesting complaint that he has on there is about the people with disabilities and like people who just genuinely need help with like things like luggage, things that require like a human touch. He's right about that. Waymo do not solve that problem. So that is interesting. He brings up a good point there. He's not wrong.
Of the Taxi Workers Alliance, that there's more regulation needed around driverless vehicles that's not there on the street.
We know they're not going to go away, but we do know there should be more restrictions on them because they're not ready to handle every situation.
So in the great driverless car wars, it's fair to say that San Francisco represents the great autonomous vehicle stronghold. But here in New York, we are people of culture who value the joy of a sloppy backseat taxi makeout with some second base hand stuff. Therefore, we are much more skeptical of the beep boop wagons with cameras inside of them. Despite being the crown jewel for autonomous vehicle companies, given our large population of rich idiots who don't know how to drive, New York has become the center of political resistance to driverless cars. Back in January, Governor Kathy Hochul briefly introduced a proposal for allowing driverless taxis in the state outside of the city, but it was met with so much negativity that she quickly dropped it. Meanwhile, New York City Mayor and guy whose face is stuck like that, Zoran Mamdani, has not yet established a position on driverless vehicles, but is admittedly a pretty big pro-taxi guy. He once hunger-struck for taxi drivers, campaigning for debt relief, had one drive him to his inauguration, built his persona off of standing with labor unions, and appointed a longtime transit worker advocate to lead the Taxi and Limousine Commission.
Maintaining the dignity of workers is a key goal of the Mamdani administration.
Sarah Kaufman is the director of NYU's Rudin Center for Transportation Policy and Management. I barged into her transportation-themed office and did my best to not play with all of the fun toys she put around to distract me.
Here in New York, there are about 180,000 licensed taxi, Uber, and Lyft drivers. And
wow,
if their
that's
jobs
crazy.
are to be automated out, that would create a catastrophic scenario in terms of job loss and the need for retraining and subsidizing a whole category of worker.
Is there a way of introducing autonomous vehicles into the city without being a direct threat to the jobs of taxi drivers, do you think?
There are a couple of ways that it could be done, although it is a very difficult scenario.
One approach Sarah told me about is the idea that Waymo could create and subsidize funds that would pay to help taxi workers retire, which is something that Waymo reportedly has already proposed to Governor Hochul. But in the eyes of Waymo's critics, funds like this pale in comparison to the employment and economic opportunity provided by being a licensed driver, especially for immigrants and citizens with few other employment opportunities. And who'd have thought a money-horny jackass like me would be standing up for the little guy?
And that is a good point.
Am I the money-horny jackass, or am I the little guy? Sarah also told me that ultimately, in a city like New York, we shouldn't let autonomous vehicles distract us from investing in mass transit.
I think what's the most important thing to keep in mind is that we don't want to add to traffic. That mass transit is still the most efficient way to move large numbers of people. So subways, buses, and in a lot of ways, taxis factor in here. We need to use those modes to move large numbers of people. We don't want to add more vehicles to the streets, otherwise we'll just have gridlock.
Indeed, this fear of autonomous vehicles leading to more cars on the road was a concern voiced by many.
So my understanding of New York is that New York is like, especially like the business side of New York, is that the most efficient way to move around like the busier parts of New York is actually through public transportation, like mass transit and like taxis. You don't want to take your car through like Grand Central Station if you're very unlucky, because the traffic is always so packed. So I I kind of understand where she was coming from. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, traffic in New York is just that type of beast, you know?
I pretended to listen to throughout this investigation. It's this hope that a private company will solve a public issue, like supporting mass transit, that has critics critiquing Waymo. After all, it wouldn't be the first time that us in the US turned to big car for a transportation solution. Or so says University of Virginia professor and transportation historian Peter Norton, who wrote the book Autonorama, the illusory promise of high-tech driving.
In 1934, engineers working for the U.S. auto industry said, you know, the real way to save lives, the 20th century way to make traffic safe is to make speed safe. And we're going to do that by putting, you know, multi-level expressways, elevated highways right through every city in America. That was a catastrophic boondoggle.
Peter said that while he was impressed with autonomous vehicles technologically, he thinks that both the literal investment required to make them work and the opportunity cost of committing to them means that mass adoption of autonomous vehicles would be a huge mistake.
For them to work, it helps if the public sector comes along and makes accommodations like it did for the conventional automobile. For example, in so-called V2X technology, where you plant technology in the side of the road, in objects like lampposts and so on, which help the car know where it is. We can do that. That is a possibility. It would take public money. Some of it's already been happening. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to do it because the advantages for the public in robotic cars just aren't that great. Robotic cars can't solve safety for the same reason that Airbnb can't solve homelessness. The costs just don't add up. To its credit, Airbnb doesn't claim it will solve homelessness. However, we still have the robotic car companies saying they will solve safety. If, for the sake of argument, we say it's significantly safer, which is especially Waymo's point right now, even if we were to agree with that, we then have the problem of how do you get even 1% or even 0.1% of the miles that people spend in a car in an automated car. Given the costs, that's not going to happen, and it's actually kind of worse than that because every time that argument prevails, it diverts resources and attention and policy support in favor of that path towards safety to the neglect of the really successful paths towards safety that we know work because they explain extraordinary improvements in safety in other countries that we have not had here.
The other potentially more cost-effective paths to safety that Peter's referencing here tend to include boring things that probably won't generate a metric dick ton of revenue for big tech companies, but might reduce traffic deaths as dramatically as autonomous vehicles claim they will. I'm talking about lame shit like roundabouts, wider sidewalks, elevated crosswalks, protected lanes for bikers that I hate, lower road speeds, technologically enforced speed limits, and restrictions on big-ass cars like those SUVs that suburban moms use to pick their hydro flasks up from Topgolf practice. None of these are as sexy as Car That Drives You, but they're a lot cheaper than retrofitting a metropolis for Waymos and have been proven to work in those Scandinavian cities where everything's perfect and no one ever dies. But granted, folks, none of this means that old Dan here is fully anti-autonomous vehicle.
It's always
building a relatively green technology that can limit accidents and curb traffic seems like a much better use of Silicon Valley's resources than getting everyone addicted to short-form videos.
What?
Except for the ones that I make. But at the same time, the people telling us that driverless cars are the solution to all of our problems are the same people who stand to become gagillionaires if we go all in on this technology, while potentially overlooking less sexy solutions to safety issues. So while driverless cars certainly do seem like part of our future, my long 2 weeks on this beat has shown me that while the industry's promises sound good, it's best to cool our boots and avoid falling into the arms of big Waymo too fast. Because after all, we're still in the driver's seat, and we can still pump the brakes for now. And for good work, I'm Dan Toomey. Taxi.
Hello, this is with Waymo. How can I help?
Hi, I'm just taking a Waymo in San Francisco right now, and I just wanted to say that the ride has been a stellar quality so far.
Oh, thank you, sir. So, is there any problem with the vehicle? Everyone's safe?
Yep, we're all safe. Just wanted to say good job.
Thank you so much. If you still have further questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to let us know, okay?
Sounds good. Love you.
Thanks. And thank you for calling, Remo. Have a good one. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Oh God, I forgot what I was gonna say. That's kind of crazy. You know, Waymos don't have to solve safety. They could just simply like reduce the amount of accidents that currently happen on the road right now, right? They could just drastically reduce like vehicle manslaughter fatalities, you know. But you know, also the idea is, you know, look, the idea is relatively young, and it's definitely better than like Elon Musk's like Hyperloop or some dumb shit like that, right? And it's actually something that like people want to do that could be like very beneficial to like everybody. Because even if it ends up that like there can't be a profit model, that like this is the type of thing that shouldn't be attached to like a profit model, you know, there are probably other ways to execute it that don't involve like having to make a profit, as long as we could see that it's possible, you know. And I don't know, I kind of support it for the most part. I could also see the problems with it, but you know, these are definitely one of those things that like after all these years, I'm still on board with, you know. Wish we heard more normal news about like stuff like this instead of like AI like being the future, and it's just it's so that kind of stuff is so insufferable, you know, because you hear about it like all the time.
Silicon Valley promised to change the world. It did, just not in the way many imagined. Today, a handful of tech billionaires wield extraordinary power over our politics, our economy, our public discourse, and even our thoughts. But one journalist saw the danger long before big tech became big power. Paulina Borsuk warned that Silicon Valley's libertarian ideology, disdain for government, and worship of wealth would reach far beyond California. Her once overlooked book is now being republished for a new generation, and Michelle Martin speaks with Borsuk about why her critique, which was published in the year 2000, is resonating now.
Paulina Borsuk, thank you so much for talking with us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Your books...
I wanted to pull this up because, you know, she predicted something and she was right. So, you know, since it's relevant, it'd be good to like know, you know, what her thoughts were before, if anybody's interested, you know, to tackle the problem of big tech that we're currently suffering under. So
Cyber Selfish first came out more than 25 years ago. It was out of print, and through a sort of a magical process, which we don't have time to go into here, it has been rediscovered by a whole new generation of fanatical readers. And I just wonder why you think it is resonating so deeply today.
I think there's two things. I think all the issues that I describe in the book, everyone is now seeing around them all the time. Like, oh, this is a book that can articulate and frame what I'm seeing. The second thing is, and I'm just giving you feedback from what I've been told, is that particularly people younger than me are really happy to be reading a book that is kind of in the tradition of the new journalism. It's funny, it's playful, it's not didactic, it doesn't read like a TED Talk. They like the style. They like the fact that it's really kind of like an irreverent travelogue through subcultures of Silicon Valley. And I think readers find that really enjoyable. I'm not having one point I'm trying to beat to death in it. It's sort of like, well, odd subculture here. What do you think about this? That's my theory. I mean, I don't really know. I don't know why the algorithm decided that I was this year's it girl. I had nothing to do with it.
I don't know if the algorithm decided that.
I wanted to sort of start by how you saw what you saw.
Actually,
I don't think the algorithm decided that. I mean, there have been many books in the past that like was like set into obscurity only to be resurfaced because like it resonated with the generation after that. There are literally dead authors that wrote books that years later people discovered, and then I don't think that was an algorithm thing. I think it was a book reader thing that somebody came across, and now
This is relevant. I grew up in Southern California, in Pasadena, which is around the whole Caltech JPL STEM culture. And so when I moved to the Bay Area, and I was running into Silicon Valley, this was in the 80s, I thought, oh, these sweet, smart geeks are like the parents of the people I grew up with. And then I began to realize that not exactly. I began to realize that there was a real difference in mindset between the kind of, I want to say FDR, New Deal, space program, we can do good things, all this kind of stuff, with this other mindset that was very puzzling to me, because I remember thinking, one, what are they so angry about? And two, no sector of society has benefited more and suffered less from the government than these people. So why are they acting like this? So as I always tell people, if I don't understand something, I want to write about it. And so I just started paying attention because, I was very immersed in Silicon Valley culture. I was working for computer magazines. I would occasionally do corporate hack work for the companies. I was really immersed in that culture. So I was just paying attention and had my ears and eyes open. And it's just, it's a bad habit of mine. I just sort of sit there and watch.
Well, the thing that's interesting about the book is that it's being hailed as prophecy. And you write about this in your afterword. You say Cyber Selfish was written as a description of a subculture. It was never intended as a book of prophecy, but that sadly is what it has turned out to be. Social scientists and historians probably have a name for what happens when a minority culture becomes a majority one. What was written about here has become the dominant ideology of Silicon Valley leaders. And you say that the trends and ideas of this subculture coming into domination have had effects far worse than I could have imagined back when I was working on a project in the 1990s. What's the subculture?
Yep, I'm adulting. Hey, Lowe's, how's it going?
Well, I called it libertarian. Gilda Randolph calls it tech fascist. But, libertarian is a word I use, which meant that violently.
So, it'd be good. Cool. So apparently, not bad. Stream's going pretty well, actually. Better than I thought it would. So this is a book that came out that I need to actually pick up now that I think about it. That became this woman wrote that pretty much described what's happening in the tech world. I heard about it not too many months ago, and I brought this video back up because this was posted I'm the Poor and Company YouTube video, which is a show on PBS, and they did a segment on it, so I decided to show it on the YouTube stream and see if I could promote it.
Anti-regulation.
It's going pretty good.
Drunk on Ayn Rand in 8th grade and never got over it. Lacking in empathy, very misappropriating biology. Let everything just evolve on its own and it will be fine. The free market will take care of everything. Fairly sexist. It's much worse now, but their sexism was there, which at the time really kind of surprised me because in the 80s and 90s, I knew women in technology. There weren't a ton, but they were there. And this sort of crackpot sociobiology, anti-female thing mainly wasn't in the mainstream then. And now I feel it's become the mainstream in Silicon Valley. And also my feeling about the book, and okay, this sounds grotesquely self-aggrandizing, but I don't mean it that way, is I read Silent Spring when it came out. And once you read that, you can never look at pesticides the same way. You can never look at the environment the same way. You can never look at birds the same way. And my hope with the book is people would read it and they'd suddenly now be able to put the pieces together when they hear the latest silly remark by the latest AI spokesmodel. In other words, I wanted to give people kind of a cognitive framing tool. And that's what the book is about, because it isn't a definite narrative. It's just, well, this happened, or look at this thing over here.
It's what you saw. It's what you saw. You kind of, it's chapters, it's sort of chapters, each one kind of stands on its own as what you saw. One of them, though, I want to point out, in 1997, you wrote this essay originally titled The Cosmo Girl's Guide to Dating Techno-Libertarians. To dating. This was long before the phrase tech bro. But what were some of the things? Yeah, what were some of the things you saw?
I would go to computer security conferences. I would go to meetings at the cyberpunks who were these sort of extreme anarcho-capitalist subculture, whatever. And this is the Times, they would print it out and have it stapled and to give out to people because they had a recognition of this person got us right. And some of them had a sense of humor about themselves and enjoyed it. The thing that blew my mind looking at it, and I hadn't looked at it in years, was it really clearly comes across as do not express empathy. Empathy is a really bad quality to have. And that, I found that laughable. But of course, now we hear that all the time in Silicon Valley. Yes.
Not just hear it all the time, but from Elon Musk, who actually said this, that empathy is what's destroying the country. Empathy is not just overrated, but it's
a bad quality.
It's a bad quality to have. This isn't just a book about technology, though. It's a book about values.
That's right.
I mean, you argue that once you understand the mindset driving the industry, you understand everything from its politics to its business practices. So just looking at today's headlines, for example, about AI company systems, or about
first of all,
the political
no
influence of people like Elon Musk.
Everything we do is good and should not be questioned. That's definitely built into all this. There was a chapter on philanthropy, and it was both on how they don't give any or very little. A lot of times, even in those days, if there was a philanthropic gesture, it was a piece of technology. In those days, like, oh, we will wire your school. Never mind, that means you're locking in generations of kids, let's say, who learned on a Mac and that's all they ever know. And, there's other examples of that.
That's another yikes.
It's like these people, they're living in such a...
It really bothers me that people will go out of their way not to date somebody because of what type of phone they use. I still can't get over that. I'm never going to get over that. You're not going to date somebody because they don't use an iPhone. I can't get over that. I can't.
Self-referential bubble. And it just keeps on feeding on itself.
One of the things you talk about a lot is the fact that many of these people are so virulently anti-government. And one of the things that you say, really early on in the book is, I was trying to make sense of the libertarianism I found all around. The belief systems I ran into were confusing. For this passionate libertarian population has, for the most part, only experienced good things and not bad from government. And you point out, and I think this is something that many people know, just how dependent on government funding, resources, education, research dollars.
The water
many
supply,
of these people,
the electrical grid, not just, public education, not just the funding for research. I mean, government in a basic, when government works, you don't notice it. I can't explain it any other way. But they had no awareness of, I don't know if I mentioned this at Brooke or not, but until the early 90s, the biggest employer in Silicon Valley was Lockheed, which is a defense contractor. In other words, they were piggybacking on, decades of government investment in all kinds of things. And, I would say even the GI Bill, which enabled people to buy houses on the peninsula, with getting loans, in the FHA and stuff like that. And the government was there embedded, making their life safe and possible, and they just didn't see it. I have a crackpot theory about this. Part of it is the bad sociobiology that a lot of them inhale. But also, I think one of the things that happened is the Netscape IPO ruined everything. That was when Wall Street woke up and went, whoa, there's a lot of money to be made here. So you had Silicon Valley invaded by toxic Wall Street finance bro culture. And that, to me, was the beginning of when things really began to change. And that is a very
no. Okay. No, I can't believe you said that. No, because what was I saying? What were we saying several months ago? I remember I saying it, and I remember a couple of people saying it. I was saying, I was thinking money is what ruined the internet. When you could start making money on the internet, that was when everything went to shit. Remember? That was when everything went to shit. People, back in the day, when people were posting on YouTube, no one was thinking about making, it makes a lot of sense, right? Yeah, back in the day when people were thinking about making money, the internet was fantastic. And then the moment people made money on the internet, money fucks everything, right? and now she's repeated. She was like, after the Netscape IPO, all these toxic tech roles that just jumped. Yeah, she
so
just said it.
To me, that was one of the things that poisoned the environment. Because I knew many women technologists, and there wasn't this pervasive, creepy, whatever it was. And I also think Wired magazine had a lot to do with this. When I started writing for them, they embraced me as a writer, for which I'm really grateful, and they treated technology as culture, which is how I saw it, and they gave me great freedom and support. So I'm not complaining about them in that way. I didn't realize for a while what a boys' club it was. And I didn't realize how much sexism and sex discrimination in the workplace there was. And I didn't realize how much they were into this cult of male founder. In other words, I didn't see it initially. It took me a couple of years to realize this toxic bro culture was also in Wired. And Wired was the propaganda organ for all this. Free market for all. Lewis, I think, was one of the founding editors, was very involved, and I think even the Libertarian Party in the 70s. I didn't see it.
Really?
I was looking at this as a great opportunity for me to stretch out and do what I do, which is write about technology in a literary way. And it was a happy relationship for several years.
Just to clarify, when you're talking about Wired, you're talking about the Wired of your era.
Of my era, not the Wired now. The Wired now, it's got the same name, but it's an entirely different publication. Actually, they're doing a profile of me,
that's good to know.
Which is coming out in the middle of September. And if you had told me that 15 years ago that Wired is doing a profile of me, it's like, whoa, but it's a very different publication.
Yeah, because Wired came up in the 90s. The Wired was like a tech magazine. And I guess what you're saying is like the Wired, which is now probably like a blog-ish platform, because that's probably what they pivoted towards. It's a completely different organization. That makes sense.
They're still devoted to science and technology, but they're
evolve.
channeling me these days.
It's interesting because
they had to evolve.
I covered one of these stories.
Why today is also surprisingly consumer-centric. Really?
About AI or sort of the current sort of tech environment or whatever. You get this pushback. The industry has produced extraordinary innovations.
Actually, that wouldn't
have
surprise me.
Transformed every field, from medicine to communication.
And I think about it, that shouldn't be too surprising.
I guess the question would be: do you separate the culture
as a means
from the
to push product
itself?
Yeah,
let's even
which is
stop there.
Not inherently
because
bad.
My feeling is, basically starting after the .com crash, what has been the technology innovation? I don't consider like Airbnb or Uber technology innovation. They're financial plays. They're not really technology innovation. If we're talking about AI, there's plenty of anti-AI critique coming up, which I think is valid and good and true. So when people say stuff like the pushback that you get, I want to go, what exactly is it that you're talking about?
Well, I'm thinking about the large data sets and the benefit of being able to analyze large amounts of data at once. That the ability to, for example, I would think in medical diagnosis, for example,
like they're
this way, large data sets help people
towards generate AI and tech bros.
They can.
But even there, I trip. Don't get me ranting about AI. You can imagine what I'd have to say. I mean, I'm a real dyed-the-wool tree hugger, so I can't get over the environmental impact and the slave labor and the piracy. But AI.
Honestly, Airbnb and Uber are innovators. Taxi, ride shares, and bread and breakfasts have existed forever. Yeah. No, they're just now that you mention it, they're just the next. Like they were just they were just the next generation of that. So yeah, they're just businesses. Yeah.
Hallucinates. I don't trust what AI would kick up. I mean, I've had AI confidently tell me that I wrote XYZ for XYZ publication. No, that's just not true. I mean, I'm just paranoid.
Iterations.
I can't trust what I'm getting back. I don't even want to interrogate it. I get your point, but to me, it's not trustworthy responses.
Even DoorDash is expensive courier service.
Criticisms of Silicon Valley, some of the criticisms that you raise, and the culture
next generation
of it, and the sort of single-mindedness of it, and the self-focused nature of it, is to say, well, the culture is partly what leads to these innovations. That's the question I'm putting to you.
The feeling I know among entrepreneurs I know these days is they can't get any money unless it's for AI. In other words, there is a culture of innovation, but right now all the money is going into AI. So if you want to do something else, it may be hard to get funding for it. And
which is stupid, but
we can have a whole discussion about what does founding a company mean these days. The culture of flip and flee has been around for 30 years, which is you just create enough companies, so enough value in the company, so either you get bought out, or you can have the IPO, take your money, and if the company tanks in a year, you don't care. So yeah, there's innovation, but there's a lot of, to me, financial engineering, funny money innovation going on that's not really innovation like you are. I'm all in favor of alternative energy. Of course, how could I not be? Or alternative ways of filtering water, or a million good things, you know.
I think part of the problem with this is definitely what happens when you disconnect. What a weird way to say money laundering. Yeah, well, I mean that's what crypto enables, right? I think so a thing that people don't talk about is the fact that they're using innovation in the current climate that we're in. Innovation is now a marketing term, right? Like anytime Miss Theranos, the fraud that made the machine that was supposed to test people's blood and under emitters or some crap like that. Like it was supposed to be an innovative product, but now it's a market. Like the innovation, this is what happens when you try to take. I'm certain this is the product of when you try to take away the type technology or research that's supposed to be done by universities or DARPA, because DARPA is responsible for the internet, but DARPA is still research, right? And you put it in the hands of business people, right? Business people should contribute money into universities and funds and projects, but now that you've put it perfectly into the hands of business people and try to make a business out of it and R&D and whatnot, because Waymo's an R&D project, but it's actually one of the better R&D projects that are out there, one of the better R&D projects out there. But in the end of the run, they have to turn a profit, and that's why I keep saying true AI will never be made by Anthropic. No, it's true, because they're they're only interested in making profit, and by making a profit, in order to make a profit, you don't have to make it quality. You just have to sell it as quality. It could be complete shit. It could be the only way you're gonna get better quality items out of that scenario is if somebody then came around and made a better AI. Somebody has to do well enough to then make true artificial intelligence is not profitable. It's a liability. Indievtuber doesn't want to sell Neuro. It's like his child, a very expensive child that barely makes enough money to pay for her upkeep. Well, yeah. Passion is what pushes innovation, in my opinion. Yeah, that's true. But it has to be something. It has to be a type of passion. I mean, people can be passionate about money. It has to be passion, or it has to be inspiration, or it has to be drive. Yeah, that that motivates somebody to do something without expecting a monetary reward. That's the monetary reward is not necessarily the payoff, you know? Yeah, and so that's just the scenario that we find ourselves as. Innovation is a marketing term now. Every company out there can claim that they're making an innovative new product, and people will eat that shit in. Yeah, innovation for innovation's. It's not innovation for innovation's sake, though. It's innovation for profit's sake. That's the problem. I mean, technically, no, that innovation just new horses. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Bernie Madoff's a pyramid scheme was an innovative way of making money, right? That's innovation for you, right?
MedTech and biotech.
It's crime,
things. You and I could think of a million ones. I'm not against that. I'm just, what I was critiquing was this stockholder theory of value, which kind of really took over Silicon Valley.
One of the things that I think has changed, I think you wrote about this too, is that today the industry's most influential leaders, they're not rejecting government. They're actually
I wish I put chat on the
whether
screen
through
now.
AI policy or defense partnerships, or they're deeply embedded.
Sorry, chat is not on my stream nowadays because one time like somebody posted something on the YouTube, and now I'm just like really super paranoid that somebody's gonna post something and it's gonna go on the stream, and it's gonna like, I don't want to make anybody upset, you know, and I don't want to promote that kind of stuff. So I just kind of leave it out. And I wish I had a moderator, you know. Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you for understanding.
In the Trump administration.
If I had a mod, it wouldn't be a problem, but it's just me.
And I wonder, I understand that the book is 25 years ago and you've just rewritten your introduction and kind of the what comes after, but I'm wondering how they justify this change of perspective.
It depends on what the definition of government is. I mean, as we all know, and I you know, homage to Mike Godwin, we all know what happened with Nazi Germany and Stalin's Russia. I mean, the government and business became kind of interchangeable, but the government wasn't existing to do anything good in the world. It was just to defense and for the inside group to make money. I mean, it just broke my heart when there's that recent wildfire in Minnesota. And the reason they had the wildfire is because Doge cut the money to do the forest maintenance that the U.S. Forest Service would do. That kind of government they're not interested in. They're interested in defense spending and how much they can rip off the American taxpayer. You know, it's, oh boy, free money.
Do you?
Yeah, the kind of stuff, like bad stuff. The kind of makes my pee-pee hard. Yeah, guns. Yeah, whatever.
Have a sense that the worm is turning in some way, as evidenced by the fact that your book is now coming back into print, that there has been a whole movement to get your book back into print. There are more people criticizing AI. You've seen subsequently, for example, that there are recently in a jurisdiction near here, a number of jurisdictions in the Washington, D.C. area where I am now have placed moratoriums on data centers into place. So do you think that there's more, that the worm is turning, by the way, that this kind of uncritical celebration is changing?
It looks like it, and I hope so. And I hope that people also realize that there's real value in participating in local government. You can get a lot done if you're willing to show up the city council, the county zoning thing. I mean, you know, participate in the government is sort of what I say, make it yours again. So I think you're right. I hope you're right. It looks that way to me, too. I have to tell you, though, something. It's been very funny to me to run into people to go, oh, yeah, I read it when it came out. And I said, if all the people who said to me, I read it when it came out, bought it, how come it didn't sell well? You know, I don't know. I would have hoped when it came out that it had some lasting value, that somehow would affect policy and how people thought about technology.
And I didn't know.
You know, it's also puzzling, as you probably know this, you know, the Bay Area is still mostly votes blue. I mean, Ro Khanna is the representative from Silicon Valley. So how do you equate that with these other people? I can't put them together except to say that Silicon Valley is a multicultural place. In the true sense of it, there are these people, and then there's the Ro Khannas of the world. I do think a lot of the rank and file people in Silicon Valley now keep their head down and keep their mouth shut. You know, they want to keep their job. They're not going to say that they disagree with this stuff.
I was literally saying that like 2 streams ago or 3 streams ago.
Too late now?
Well, yeah. I tend to be Debbie Downer and very much an Eeyore and
I mentioned this like 3 streams ago, like because I was playing Mario Brothers 2 or 2 streams ago, I don't remember. But like a lot of people who are working in Silicon Valley could speak up, and they just choose not to. It was a chatter that reminded me of this. They just choose not to because they want to keep their job, you know. So,
you know, I don't want it to be too late. Maybe it is too late, but as you and I know from history, sometimes amazing things can come from the ashes. But what I wonder what happens is when the water really starts running out, and the water is really starting to run out. I mean, you probably know about what's going on in the Southwest and the drought. When the water begins to run out, when the grid becomes unreliable, when you can't get the materials you need to make more semiconductors. I mean, I think the true environmental cost of this, I think, is going to come home sooner than later. And maybe that will change people's minds.
Paulina Barsic, thank you so much for talking to us.
Well, thanks for having such a good and smart and funny conversation.
In Los Angeles? Sorry, I didn't say Los Angeles. Las Vegas, in the Las Vegas area with the aqueduct. I forgot about that. Oh no, they're already having trouble.
I believe there was a news story a couple of years back where like they're already having trouble trying to find water, like because the aqueducts weren't getting water, and now they're using for the. Oh no! Okay. Oh no. Oh no. This is what happens when you watch the news. This is a news story that like I remember like several years ago that she just reminded me of now. I watched the news so much, bro, that like she said that and I was like, oh no, the aqueducts in like the Arizona, Las Vegas, they're already low. They were people complaining that they had to make policy changes because they have to figure out different ways to like divert the water. And now you're telling me the water is getting sucked up by data centers? That's the stupidest that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Oh no. Okay. Oh, shit might hit the fan sooner than later. I could be wrong about this. I could be wrong. I'm just going off of what I remember and what she just said and what I've been told. I could be wrong about this, but I forgot. She's right. Holy cow. Okay. So that was pretty good. Oh man. Okay. Let me switch things up. Please switch things up.
I'm going to I'm going to now be playing a video game. So yeah, I have to finish my playthrough of or try to finish my playthrough of Conundrum, but that was really good. I'm really glad I did that. I've had two successful streams or three successful streams where like I showed something I was really interested in and it really paid off well. So yeah. Let's get to it. Let us get into it. I have to. Well, maybe that's something that I probably shouldn't say on stream. But it's something I've been thinking about, and I've just been so busy with other things that I've just, I have so much on my mind that I just forget to do certain things, and I discovered like other things that I need to like work on. There's like a lot of things that I've been keeping myself really busy, and it's getting in the way of myself. So that's a thing. That's literally the best way I could describe it. But that went well, and hopefully, whatever I'm working on will bear fruit sooner than later. Let me just fire this bad boy up, so I could stop talking about myself in vulgarities. Is that even a word now that I think about it? Be big. I also like one of the things. Okay, so just to put some context into the game. I'm kind of slowing down as I'm loading the game. Just to put some context into what I'm saying. They recently released a feature with. I'm using OBS right now, but they recently released a feature in Meld that I was waiting on so I could switch to it. There's a lot of things I'm gonna miss in OBS. OBS is awesome, but I want to switch to Meld because like they have a lot of great things going on with that platform. And I said I was gonna switch to it anyways after they implemented the feature that I was looking for, and I haven't gotten around to it because like my mind's been on other things, But they literally released it like last week, and I just forgot about it. Okay, we're switching. Here we go. That would up with that edge. Good. I don't want to predict it. Yeah, well. There we go. What was that? Am I gonna remember how to play this game? I'm gonna remember how to play this game. I should be in this game a long time ago. can't lift it.
I know that's what you kids sound like, but this still creeps me out. Intriguingly tricky. You're going to want to retrieve another battery first. Has the uncanny ability to observe the world in several dimensions at the same time. I suppose that made Ike rather unhinged. Great, you got the fluffy battery.
Okay, gotcha. Lemon squeeze it.
I still think you'll want one more battery.
Why'd you say that? Don't say that. Oopsie. I think I did it too hard. Oh wait, it's going down. It's losing momentum.
Nicely done with retrieving the heavy battery.
Oh no, they're gonna make me. Oh, they're not gonna make this easy. Okay, gotcha. No, it's fine. They couldn't just give it to me today. No, they couldn't. that would have been too easy. Why make my life
easy? Those safes are a little excitable. Those safes are a little excitable. You should let them settle all the way down first. You know, I was like you once. 12, or is it 10? And that's where the similarity ends.
Really? Really? You just had to, like... What's with the shame? What's with the... You, sir, are trapped in some pocket dimension.
I have to admit it, though, you've come quite a ways. Commendable.
Now.
But don't let it get to your head. I know this whole process is rather inconvenient, but I've found that it's better to be safe than sorry when utilizing more energy in 5 minutes than the Hoover Dam produces in a year.
What's that supposed to be? I'm not going to get booked after that. it's probably more shade, intellectual shade you're throwing towards me. But I'm the one doing the work, and you're the one trapped in the wherever you are. No, it doesn't. Why is your house like
this? This probably isn't the safest place you've been this week. Ooh, well, I'm really sorry. You'll need to get up and cross there. This probably isn't the safest place you've been this week. Ooh, I'm really sorry. You'll need to get up and cross there. This probably isn't the safest place you've been this week. This probably isn't the safest place you've been this week.
Can't believe that works. Wait.
Up you go!
I guess I got this. No, I'm not. Okay. I can do it. You know, experience being able to reach this thing.
Ooh, well, I'm really sorry. You'll need to get up and cross there.
Yeah, I reached the sig now, so I experience it unless it's a shaping up.
Ooh, I'm really sorry. You'll need to get up and cross there. This probably isn't the safest place you've been this week. Ooh, well, I'm really sorry. You'll need to get up and cross there. This probably isn't the safest place you've been this week.
Nowadays, they probably don't even know what a WinApp is.
Ooh, I'm really sorry. You'll need to get up and cross there. This probably isn't the safest place you've been this week.
I thought I can make it here, but I can't make it. Oh, okay. I need to push forward. I was pushing forward. Yeah,
Up you go!
That was worth it. Gotcha. Why it sounds like this? Seriously. Oh. What are you doing there, let us say? Supposed to break this. Okay. Okay. No, we got it. It's fine.
That is a quadrangle rotary transformer. In case you weren't aware, they're a little dangerous. That is a quadrangle rotary transformer. In case you weren't aware, they're a little dangerous. You'll need to get to that platform over there. Is a quadrangle rotary transformer. In case you weren't aware, they're a little dangerous. You'll need to get to that platform over there.
Why did that
You'll need to get to that platform over there. That is a quadrangle rotary transformer. In case you weren't aware, they're a little dangerous. You'll need to get...
Really? I'm trying to think, like, part of this is pure luck. But I'm gonna go off of that.
That is a quadrangle rotary transformer. In case you weren't aware, they're a little dangerous.
This time it's not working. Like, twice, but it's not working.
That is a quadrangle rotary transformer. In case you weren't aware, they're a little dangerous. You'll need to get to that platform over there. That is a quadrangle rotary transformer. In case you weren't aware, they're a little dangerous. You'll need to get to that platform over there.
solution. It's just not working yet.
That is a quadrangle rotary transformer. In case you weren't aware, they're a little dangerous. You'll need to get to that platform over there. Oh, careful!
Are you serious?
This isn't the best place for children, is it?
Quack, hey, how's it going, man? Quack 22. We're just trying to figure out how to beat this level without dying. This madman's house that you put a child in or something weird. Something. You missed the, by the way, did you notice you got chatting on? Oh, really? Is that still on? No, I did not notice. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. That's loud. Quantum. People are probably looking at me like, here. There we go. get this madness playground. There we go. Okay. Thank you for saying something. I appreciate it.
Fantastic. Just need to get the alternator on going.
How are you doing? Doing good. Welcome back to the stream. Appreciate it. Yeah, we just looked at like a whole segment on right? We looked at like self-driving cars, and then I can't hear you, bud. Oh, I see. My bad. My bad. Okay, let me to. Well, let me just put this on the side. Why does the chat show up here, but it doesn't? Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Oh, I can see it now. Yeah, it is a little loud. I'll just lower this a bit more. Thank you for saying something. I appreciate it. But now I have to like test it against. I have to test it against. Hold on, I'm not going to be able to see chat for a bit. I just want to see. I just want to.
That was sufficient. Enough.
Yeah, it's still too loud, isn't it? But I don't want to put it too low, because if I put it too low, then you can't hear the game at all. Alright. Yeah, that's better, I think. Although, probably a bit too strong, but at least you can hear me now, right? Thank you again for saying something. Excuse me. Okay, so the problem now is I need a blueprint. Oh, just bluing and yellowing. Yellow. Those are the ones I picked up so far, right? Which I picked up, right? Yeah, picked it up. Okay, good. Oh, there's a blue line. Okay, so I got each from the yellow wing. Okay, so I just need to move on to the next wing.
Your task is almost complete. And then you can finally leave my home in a state resembling a train wreck. How about you make your way to the Red Wing? It's upstairs. Fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, you're heading closer to the New Technologies Lab. Perhaps you might come across some clues to help me piece together this quandary. Ah, yes. This is the last in a contiguous series of associated dimensions. As you can see, the gravitational pull in this dimension is directly in opposition to our customary one.
could kill me.
Oh, watch out! Look out! Do you suppose that the gravitational bodies that influence this dimension are different? Or is the manor, in fact, built upside down? Ponder that. I vaguely remember an IDS receptacle mounted somewhere on the second story. Ah, there's our little friend. You've certainly gotten rather adroit. I believe that opened the hatch over there.
Stop it.
I bet you wanted me to do that, huh? Mad scientist, crazy evil laugh.
Never do that again.
There should be another drinking bird. Periodic articulating Gruide in that room influencing this area. I believe that you'll have to wrap around this room to get through.
The house is upside down. How come I'm not affected by the gravity? That should be that, right? Oh, wait.
Can I be perfectly honest here? I really have no idea why I set this area up.
Do you have any idea why you set up these areas? They all seem like death witches. Just saying.
At this point, you have traveled further into the manor than any other family member has in the last 2 decades.
My gosh, sad. The other ones die, and that's the reason why I didn't get that far.
I can't say that'll happen again anytime soon.
What does that mean?
Oh, it seems as if the timer on Desmond doesn't have the duration that you'll need. You should be able to utilize that battery.
I just crashed Desmond. Yes, I did.
If only there was something to press that for you.
Is that his way of saying I fucked up? That's crazy. That's crazy.
Oh, it seems as if the timer on Desmond doesn't have the duration that you'll need. As a rule, don't look directly into his eyes. Trust me. Some event must have occurred to cause me to be transported to this pocket dimension. If only I could remember what.
Maybe you died and you're just like a ghost. Or the thoughts in my head.
My headache is getting a little better, although I still have a rather large lump on my skull.
That can't be good. Sounds like cancer, brain cancer. You should be dead by now.
Oh, in case you don't see it, there's an electrical converter on the ceiling that needs to be pressed.
Thought I heard
I can't believe my memory hasn't returned yet.
Why is it making me do this? This isn't the greatest puzzle in the world. This is just... I don't know if that's right. I'm referencing like a Tenacious D song. I did it terribly. God, how am I supposed to solve this? Weird. Oh, I could also just like be a vandal about things.
Boy, looking.
Well, I ain't that
Sometimes I get the strangest feelings that they might be sentient. I engineered a completely seedless strawberry once. I hated getting the seeds stuck between my teeth. I could really go for a strawberry right now. Not that I would eat one, that I'd find it here. It would most likely be covered in something fuzzy, like you'd find in a pocket. I have fond memories of this room when I was about your age. It used to be the parlor. Oh well. Ike is precocious sometimes, much like yourself. You know, I put those belts there for a reason. Just think about it.
Why would you construct this shit just to make me sound wild? He's telling me, he's giving me hints, and I'm like, oh, these are puzzles that you constructed for me to solve.
Oh, nice! Not happy. Ike's a sneaky one, isn't he? I didn't even see that one. You should perhaps place something in there. Good going on reverse engineering that. Science juice is quite an amazing substance, you know. In addition to being a fuel source, it's also a superconductor and amplifier of energy frequencies. Just a small amount infused with dimensional extract can build enough energy to power the IDS device receptacles.
What exactly is the
Oh, yes. This area unfortunately flooded a few weeks ago. You'll need to go all the way around. Okay, cross there.
Crashing the car.
Got to get down to get up? Well, wait, that's not how that goes.
Something fucking, I hope not on my screen. I'll get a Twitch.
Good thinking. Well played.
Awkward day.
Played. I believe that there are 3 safes down there, if that helps. You're gonna need that heavy battery.
Well, thank you, Captain. Oh, shit.
Don't let your emotions get in the way of a clearly logical solution. Isn't geometry fun? There's a clean zone perimeter here. No objects over the threshold. The number 3 is also the first Mersenne prime, the only prime triangular number, and the number of safes you'll want on those conveyor belts down there.
Yeah, I figured. Except the fact that it's a specific type of prime that I didn't know. Or need to know why it's important. Why give it that specific name?
Yes, well, okay. So, you found it. Look, your mother gave it to me for Christmas, and I've been meaning to put it up, but sometimes grown-ups are busy. Constructing a breeder nuclear reactor, tuning a trans-dimensional accelerometer. Live with it.
just like this one. It's definitely one of the more difficult puzzles in the game. Not because I haven't figured it out, because physically implemented well enough. Solution, I mean.
timing. Ah! Look out! Just kidding. Can you hear me? Hey, remember those electrovat contraptions? Yes, well, they still do the same thing. Oh. Okay, pay attention. You'll need to maintain its nice hang time. That's good enough.
I guess it makes up for the amount of time I spent on the other puzzle that last room.
This area of the manor is rather fantastic, isn't it? There is nothing like good old-fashioned human ingenuity and determination to get the job done. That and robots.
Belted.
So, lasers. I once knew someone who retrofitted a laser pointer to achieve a focal point of less than 1/1000th of an inch. I must say it was rather impressive and certainly sliced through several materials, including his own toes, like a hot knife through butter.
I would be excited over that.
Nice. Well done. What a pity. Yes. Oh. Ooh! Superb! There are an excessive number of flooded areas in this sector. I didn't realize it had progressed this far. Strange. Some of the mainline science juice pipes must have been compromised. Oh, and I wouldn't recommend having a drink. Science juice is not potable. Trust me. Well, at least we can say you're getting closer to the last generator. Heads up! It's perturbing that this area has flooded as well. The electrical converter should be up there. Think of this like telling a good joke. Timing is everything. I suppose having the ability to teleport would make this a lot easier.
Think about it. I'm probably just tired. Probably just really tired. I'm hitting the wrong buttons. I'm hitting the wrong buttons while I'm doing this. Oh my gosh. Because, you know, also, I can't think of there probably is a solution to this. Easier. And I'm just not thinking straight. Right? I'm really tempted to try to finish this puzzle tonight, though. Okay, no, it's not gonna happen. Let's look for somebody to rate. Let's look for somebody who's on tonight. Oh. Wait, before I rate the person I'm thinking about rating, let me check if anybody else is streaming this game, and then let me rate. Okay, no, but nobody else is streaming this game. Lulz was still in here. Tell him I said hi. And if you like what you see, please follow, subscribe on YouTube and Twitch. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching my stream. And sorry. Have a good night. Bye.